Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Mansfield Town News and Views. I join with Stevenage fan here, Mike, to discuss the game on this Tuesday, which is going to be a very interesting encounter. It's going to see the return of Steve Evans at Mansfield for the first time, so that's going to be a great one. Anyway, first off, Mike, thanks for taking part, mate, and how you doing?
Yeah, really well, mate. Obviously, loving life after yesterday, staying in the league. Steve Evans has come in. He's steadied the ship and he's turned it around for us. So, you have to give Steve Evans a lot of props and a lot of credit for that. He's put in some really good performances since Steve Evans has come in, and we've got some really good results as well. None more so than the result yesterday, which also, as well as helping us out, helped you out as well. So there you go.
Yeah, he actually did us a favour for once rather than just like deporting like he did. So just want to talk about Steve Evans from your point of view then, from Stevenage then. What has he got his changed then since he's come in then?
You could just see there's a lot of fight about the club, about the players. When every match day they'll go out and they'll leave everything on the field really now. Whereas before you could see, I don't know, it was just a bit, what's the word? Kind of a little bit like we were kind of slowly heading downwards, and we just sort of didn't have any way out of it. But Steve Evans came in. Exeter, we lost 2-1 in his first game, but we were really unlucky to lose that game. And then after that, we went on a decent little run. I think we lost the next. Did we lose the next game as well? I can't remember now. But then obviously we've hit form at the right time really as well, beating Colchester and Rochdale, drawing with Scunthorpe, which obviously Scunthorpe were relegated at the time, but that kind of takes the pressure off a little bit of them. But then obviously yesterday and staying up in the way that we did. So the last 4 games in particular, even against Scunthorpe, we should have been beating them. Steve Evans came out and said himself that it was a little bit on his part that he didn't make changes soon enough, or he only made the one change, and that was like 90th minute. So he said it was kind of on his part that we didn't win that game, but safety secured, so it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing as well, from your point of view, you've got nothing to play for now, so it's one of them you can play with that freedom. And from my point of view, that can be really dangerous because, like, we played Carlisle last week, and it's a game we should have got something from. Goal that should have been, they didn't give that the officials, and it's one of them. So when you think about it, your players are playing for contracts, so I don't really see it. I don't see it being an easy game because obviously with Steve Evans coming back, he'll want to upset us, and I can just see him frustrating us. I can see him doing that. I can see him because he relishes that. He's that kind of manager. I can see him doing that.
We had the conversation last night, actually, didn't we, about it as well? And we were kind of saying that. We were saying that Steve Evans would want to get one over on Mansfield, being a former side of his, and we'll probably have a few fringe players and players playing for contracts and stuff now that we'll see a bit more of. So, it'd be very interesting to see how the next 3 games go, because I think we've only got 2 players under contract for next season, as far as I'm aware, which is the centre-back TVC, Terence Van Kooten and Elliot List. And I think the rest are all out of contract. So, you've got a lot of players playing for contract.
Yeah, well, I guarantee you next season he'll sign like about 20 players because he did that for us that season. So, honestly, every day you'll wake up to a sign or two, he'll just sign a load of players. But to be fair, I think you do need it when you look where you are, to be fair.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, you can look at our squad. And I was saying to I don't know if I said it to you, but I said it to my brother last night, that's for sure, that, there's probably 4 or 5 that I'd keep, but not really many more than that.
Yeah.
We've got a few on loan. We've got a few that are sort of younger players on loan at other clubs who might come back as well. We're in the National League at the minute with Woking and Barnet, respectively, and a few teams like that. But, I just think there's a lot of players there who won't be here next season unless they really have a really barnstorming 3 games now.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing as well, you're 4 games unbeaten. So, it's like, we've just... like I say, this game's going to be a tough game, I think, from our point of view, because it's this stage of the season where, you can't afford to drop points. So we've really got to win it from our point of view, to be fair. But I mean, at least you're safe now, so you try out different things. You can play younger players, so you've got the freedom now, essentially.
Yeah, 100%. And even yesterday, we had a young 16-year-old who he wasn't in the match day squad, but he was training with the goalkeepers on the pitch. Is a young keeper who'd been looked at by loads of Premier League teams apparently as well. And he had his first experience of match day action yesterday, just being on the field of play and warming up and everything with the players. So you might see him get a few minutes, or I think he'll certainly be on the bench for at least one or two of those games coming up.
The one player that I have noticed a lot of this season with Stevenage that's always stood out is Elliot List. He's always popped up with the goals, so he's another player that you'd say that we'd have to look out for on Tuesday night.
I think Elliot List is, he's not been as good as he has been in other games previously. But Elliot List has got that about him. He hasn't scored for a while, which is always kind of a bit dangerous when it comes to Elliot List. But I think Luke Norris as well, the man who scored the 2 goals yesterday, one of our own here from Stevenage as well. Yeah. And he's up there. I think he might even have overtaken Elliot List as top goal scorer now. So I think Luke Norris and Elliot List are two that you need to watch out for. But if you look at the back line have been performing really well. If you go back to last season, the way that we finished last season, when we finished really strongly, we went on an unbeaten run and we sort of had a lot of clean sheets back to back. That's how the back line are playing right now. Yeah.
So, like I say, he's just basically worked on things essentially, like managers. How's Jamie Reid been getting on since we last spoke?
He's actually found his place now. He's playing at left wing back, and he's actually playing really well.
Oh wow! Yeah. That was the thing. We couldn't seem to find it. We were stuck him up front to get the goals. So obviously, he just couldn't seem to fit in. So that's his position then.
He's basically found himself a home out on the left, and he's thriving out there right now. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. He had the pace about him and stuff. It was just like I say. It was just in front of goal. It was like just obviously not his position. Essentially, it's kind of like Lucas Akins. It's like I'd put him more up front, but like Clough seems to play him full back and wing back. Was he kind of the same for you guys when he played for you, Lucas Akins, or what was he like for you guys?
If I remember rightly, he played quite sort of high up the pitch. I think he was like a right midfielder, sometimes playing up front, but he's very versatile, and I think he did play at right back a couple of times as well.
Yeah, he's one of them players. It's been quite frustrating because when we signed him, it's like, well, what a player we've got here. But he has took a bit of time to settle in. To be fair, it's like I say, it was only his first goal yesterday. And we know the quality is there with him. I just think I think sometimes it just takes players longer than others to settle in.
I think that's right. And Lucas Akins, he was a good player for us for a number of years. And then obviously for Burton, he went to Burton and he was, an absolute club legend at Burton. So,
yeah, that's the thing. Obviously, what football fans like now. They've just got no patience. I think if you 2 or 3 games, that's it. You're kind of the boo boy type thing, and this is the thing with him. But yeah, I think the other thing as well is confidence as well. I think that's a massive thing as well. And obviously, being down there yourself, I think that's partly the reason, obviously, why he was the way where he was. It's just confidence, really.
Yeah, and I want to touch on obviously the last game, obviously when we played you before, and to be honest, you went on a mammoth run, and it pretty much was that game, wasn't it? There was that game when I think you nicked it. Was it 1-0 or 2-1 that you nicked it? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was. Yes, the 2-1. And obviously that game we hit the post like 2 or 3 times as well, so that could have gone either way. And I think Jamie Reid was the man who hit the post, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, he hit the post, and it's one of them. Obviously, after the time you got Alex Revel got sacked after that, and it was weird because after that game we kicked on, so it's going to be strange seeing playing against you so hopefully we can, from our point of view, do that. But obviously, you're still going to be wanting to still perform. Obviously, you still want to get the win end of the day, even if you haven't got anything to play for, though.
No, of course, yeah.
It
goes back to what I was saying. Just 1 second, mate. It goes back to what I was saying to you yesterday. It's one of those ones where it's going to be interesting from a fan's point of view to see some of these players play now who haven't played many minutes.
Yeah.
And, yes, you want to win every game. I know Steve Evans will want to win every game. But from a fan's point of view, I think, just to secure safety now, it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit. And, we want to finish the season strongly. But, we can go take this 4-game unbeaten to a 7-game unbeaten into next season. That'd be, a really good way to start next year.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, mate. You just want to do that as well. And speaking about defence, obviously we got a clean sheet yesterday ourselves, and since we've had James Perch back there and John Joe O'Toole, John Joe O'Toole was on trial with you guys, and then Alex
Revel. The other game, didn't he?
He ended up. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Alex Revel recommended Nigel Clough to him, and then he ended up, doing that. So you must kind of kick yourself thinking we could have done the job for us, and then
we said about it after the game down here, that it was just so ironic that Alex Revel was manager of us at the time, and the whole situation. I think he scored the first goal that day, didn't he? So
yeah, That's the thing. It's crazy, isn't it, how management works like. But to be honest with you, he has been solid for us O'Toole. But the one thing you have got to be careful with is obviously when you look at his history of red cards, he can be a bit of a hothead at times. But I kind of like players like that though, because it makes them winners. They're determined to get something from the game, and I don't know. I feel as though a lot of players haven't got that as much now.
No, and you can see like players that live on the edge. Go to. I know obviously this is like a League Two show and everything like that, but if you go to the Premier League, players like Granit Xhaka, like players that live on the edge, but then they can still play as well as he has done in the last few weeks for Arsenal as well.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's it. Sometimes it can just take a player just to be out of the team for a bit, rest him, and come back in the side.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Sturt, for example, he's been quite consistent for us. Played really well against you guys, funny enough, and then we've had to drop him because he's not been performing. But I think it's just a case of just rotating the squad, if anything. You know what I mean?
And I remember he was fantastic, but I remember your keeper had an absolute stormer that day as well.
Yeah, he is. I tell you something, it's been one of the players of the season for us. I mean, to get a keeper from Man United to come to League Two is insane.
It's brilliant, yeah. And obviously, you've done that, but then you've gone one step further by getting Longstaff now as well, which is a massive coup for League Two.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I mean, when I look at the players we've signed in January, it was a good business by the club, but the only one that's really, in terms of performance, has done anything is Longstaff.
Yeah.
He really has, and you can see why he plays for a Premiership club. He's got the eye for a pass. He's just energetic, and I remember at the time people just being there like, "Have you managed to pull that off?"
Exactly.
But yeah, like I say, I reckon next season you'll sign at least 30 players. So you'll see completely different.
We need to we'll cut the squad as we always do anyway. We've done that for the last 6 seasons or 5 or 6 seasons or whatever, but. Our squad is always huge. I think we need to thin the squad out a bit rather than sign loads of players. But if that's Steve Evans' way, then it might even be more next season than they were on the books this season, which is it would take a lot to it'd be like the season we got relegated and obviously stayed up because of Macclesfield. I think we had something like 50 players play for us that season. So.
Yeah, it's the same. I mean, it was the same with us, to be fair. But one thing I will say about Evans, and I'm sure it might split opinion between Mansfield fans, but I'm going to say this anyway.
Yeah.
I think if he'd have stopped with us, I do think we'd have got promoted that season.
Oh, really?
I do think that because when he left us, we was 2 points clear, 2 points from the automatics, and we only had 8 games left to go. And I think that's what frustrates a lot of Mansfield fans, just the way that we could have actually got promoted and just the way that he left. That's what really made it frustrating, because you don't mind it if it's at the end of the season because it's fair enough, and then he ended up going to Peterborough, and then obviously it didn't work out for him. So I just can't wait to see the reception he's going to get, because it's going to be very toxic, so we say.
I've got a question for you about Steve Evans as well. It's kind of obviously he was linked with Stevenage in November originally. If he'd have come to us in November, do you think we'd have been climbing the table and been nearer to mid-table by now?
I think so, yeah. To be honest with you, I do. I'll say that. I think he would have definitely got you more higher up the table. I think you'd have been safe months ago, personally.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that. He does keep players up. He does have that about him, So I will say that about him. But like I say, I think if he does get the players he wants in next season, obviously if he gets given a big budget, then I think...
which rumour is apparently he's going to, yeah.
Yeah, so if he does get that, I do think he might be challenging next season, because otherwise he's not going to come in unless he can see a long-term thing, because he's that kind of manager. Wherever he goes, he'll have a big budget, because otherwise I don't think he'd join any club for that.
I think that's fair as well, and I think when you look at obviously, if you listen to his interviews as well, I loved. I was a little bit sceptical about getting him in at first. And obviously we had Paul Tisdale that came in, and then obviously that sort of worked for a little while in January. We started getting results in January, and then he lost his job, and then obviously Steve come in just about 6-7 games ago.
Yeah.
But if you listen to his interviews, he speaks really well, and he does speak like he wants to be here long term.
Oh yeah, he's always been a good talker. That's the thing. It's I can't deny that. Like I say, he's obviously been around. He's got 9 promotions on his CV, like he keeps reminding everybody. But they definitely will get you up for it. I mean, obviously he's kept you up, and he's got 3 games to go. So I think he's good as a good manager for that. It's just like I say, it can be frustrating at times because obviously his antics and whatever you like off the pitch. But yeah, I think he's perfect for you guys. I mean, if when you think about it, it's the third manager that you've had in a season, which is insane.
Well, if you include caretaker manager, you can probably go Keith. That's the fourth manager, which is kind of the same as what we had in the year that we went down because of Macclesfield. You know, that was a crazy season, 4 managers and 3 wins, and then we still managed to stay up. And then, you know, kind of yesterday was a touch of that a little bit, waiting for the Oldham result and hearing about the pitch invasion. It was a little bit like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And you look at Oldham, I know it's obviously a completely different situation off the pitch with owners, but like they were kind of similar in terms of changing management in the season. But looking at you guys, this is why recruitment's such a big thing as well, you know, because again, if you get the right players in, and that's it. Sutton United, for example, perfect example. First season in the Football League, completely what a team they are. You know, low budget, did the double over us. Because if we get Sutton in the playoffs, that's it. Yeah, because of that good, I reckon. I really rate Sutton. I think they're one of the underrated sides in this league. When we faced
they've done it, you know, their season. If they get into the playoffs and they win the playoffs, and obviously they got to the final with the Papa Johns as well. Like and even in that game they took Rotherham, you know, high flying Rotherham, who I think they're only 2 games away from the championship.
Yeah.
So you can see how good that sounds.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, like I say, that's what I mean. To get that low of a budget and do that, that's proper football for me. I just do any team for that. But yeah, so going into this Tuesday night's game, would you change much with the lineup, or would you keep it more the same because you've been on that unbeaten run?
It's an interesting interesting way of looking at it, because I do think there'll be a few different players. I think Christy Pym has been in goal and he's been fantastic, but you know, we've got Laurie Walker, who's been on the bench and hasn't been playing since he signed. So I'd chuck Laurie Walker in for this game in goal, to be fair to you. The back line, the actual 4-back along the back, I'd keep the same. So that's Luther Wilden, Temmers Van Kooten, the captain Scott Cuthbert and Ben Coker. I wouldn't change that. I'd just change the keeper there. Midfield, we've got Michael Boswick, who's there, but I know he's played like 3 or 4 games lately, so I don't think he'll play tomorrow. So not tomorrow, Tuesday. Midfield would probably have maybe Arthur Reed. I thought Arthur Reed was sensational yesterday. Really, really good. Young, energetic. He's been a prospect to the academies at Brentford and Luton and stuff, and he's a really good player. So I think he'll probably play. I don't really know. Really, I don't think we'll change loads, but I do think there'll be a few other players that will play. So maybe, I don't know if maybe a Bruno Andrade might play, or James Daly might play from the off, or if we do change the back line, then maybe a Brad Barry might come in, or a Luke O'Neill or Luke Prosser, who's been on the bench. I don't really know what to expect, which is quite an interesting thing, and actually quite a good way of going into it, I think, as well, because then you might be a bit pleasantly surprised of who you see come out and who actually plays.
Well, yeah, you ain't got that worry about who's going down. Now that you've got, Oldham and Scunthorpe down, it's just you don't have to worry about looking at your phone, looking at the other results. Another team do you favours, which is kind of the same for us. I mean, we're hoping Port Vale slip up, but I'm always one of them. You've got to do it yourself. I don't like the teams, and that's always been my remit of a football club. So when you did appoint Steve Evans, what was your reaction to it then? Because it's always split opinion with fans. What was your initial reaction?
It split a lot of opinions at our club as well, to be fair. There was a lot of people that wanted him and a lot of people that were a little bit sceptical. I think originally when the rumours were going through, I was quite excited about it, about the potential. But then obviously it's never nice when a manager loses his job. Obviously Paul Tisdale lost his job after Northampton when we lost to them. And I was a little bit sceptical, but then that changed really quickly. It changed straight after the Exeter game. To be fair, we were beaten, but we weren't beaten. We put a very good account of ourselves in. So I thought that, it didn't really last very long. That skepticism, it kind of turned to optimism very quickly.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the only thing I would say to watch out for with Evans is obviously if you do end up getting ready for next season and a higher offer comes in, that's the only time you've got to be a bit worried about it, because obviously I think he's one of the managers. He'll always get a job at lower league. He'll always because of his CV alone. So I think obviously next season must be a promotion, the aim for you guys, because it's got to be. When you're going to have a big budget, I mean, you've got to be one of the favourites for him at least.
And but then this season, a lot of people were saying, if you go through a lot of people's predictions, YouTubers and people like that, they were saying that we were sort of outsiders to get into the playoffs this season, the way that we finished last year. So to have another really bad season and to finish just outside the relegation zone, it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out next year. Because if you look back, we were relegated and then saved by Macclesfield, so obviously we stayed up that season. Then the next season we started off poorly, and then I think we finished in like mid-table. And if we had about three or four, maybe 5 more games to go, we could have potentially got playoffs. And then this season we were like right near the bottom, on the verge of relegation again. So I think next season we're due a better season now, and the fact we've had a bad season, a good season, a bad season, next season hopefully will be a good season again.
Well, yeah, it's like it's gone a bit topsy-turvy for you. It's strange. Yeah, we know all about that. I mean, like I say, still the way we started the season, obviously when we played you guys before, we was in the same position, more or less. Just one place, I think it was. But yeah, and like I say, so obviously when you look at the league position that you're in, then would you say it was just down to bad recruitment then? Would you say, or just, that, got you where you was then, or what would you put it down to?
I don't really know. I think we have got some really good players. We do have a really good squad. But I think the squad's aging. I think we've got a lot of older players. Yeah. Yes, it's good to have a blend of youth and experience, but I think we've got too many older players and not enough youth players. Yeah. Younger players coming through, and I think that's what it is. As well as obviously not being able to get the consistency when it comes to results, and also the away form. Before Colchester, it was 1 win all season away from home, so that's a big thing as well. So we've got to massively improve on next year.
I won't be surprised if you actually got some ex-Mansfield players joining you next season. I think Reece Bennett, Alex McDonald, he quite like them players. So you might even get a couple of ex-Mansfield players. And if so, they are good players. So, if they do go to you, they are good players. But that's what you need in it, League 2 experience. That's what you need. You need players that are kind of like us, similar mixture of youth and experience, I want to say, So what's your prediction for this Tuesday's game then, mate? What score are you going to go for?
I think it'll be a close game again, just like it was at the Lamex down here. I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm going to go 1-0.
Well, I think, from our point of view, we've got to go and win, because if we don't, then because this is our only game in hand now. So if we don't get anything tomorrow night, then I think the automatics will be really hard to get. But this is what I mean. It's so tight at the top of the table. There's so many teams that you could see in there, and so I'm going to say 2-1 Mansfield, because if we don't win, then that's pretty much just us in the playoffs, I think. Yeah,
because you are still going for top 3 at the moment, aren't you, as well? So you could still actually get into top 3. Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously we've got I think Exeter and Forest Green's already up anyway. Exeter, I don't see Exeter slipping personally.
I think they'll go up. It'll be Forest Green, Exeter, and one more. Yeah.
Yeah, then it's just between obviously Northampton, Port Vale, just above us and that. But this is what you mean. You've got to make the game in hand, can't as you know yourself. So we've just got to win. But like I say, if we win tomorrow, we're only 1 point behind. But it's only a goal difference. This is how tight it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but this is a frustrating thing, because when you don't keep clean sheets, it can come down to goal difference at times. So that's how tight this league table.
And what's your fixtures like? Obviously after Tuesday night as well. So you've got Arsenal. Then who are you playing afterwards in the other remaining games?
I'm just going to get that up to you. After that, we've got we're actually on TV in a few weeks. We've got Salford on a Tuesday, on a Monday, bank holiday Monday.
Okay, yeah, the May bank holiday. Yeah,
we've got them. I'm just going to get the scores up, and then I'll have a look. But yeah, we've got. I won't say anything's easy, but I think we've got not some bad fixtures coming up. To be fair,
yeah.
Let's have a look.
Because I know for us, we're playing you Tuesday, then we're playing Carlisle Saturday, and then we end at home to Salford on the last game of the season as well. And that could be, one for them where they can maybe get playoffs or maybe not on that last game.
Right, the next game after you guys, we're away to Salford at 12:30 kickoff from Sky, Salford, and then after that we've got Forest Green at home, the last game of the season.
Oh wow.
So yeah, and this is what I mean. It could come down. I think it's going to come down to the last day, because it's just going to be that season. But like I say, hopefully by that point, both will go up automatically. But this is the thing; it all depends on the other teams as well. Because like I say, we've got Port Vale still got to play Newport as well as they've got to play Exeter as well. So I really hope Exeter do us a favour. Really, to be fair, against Port Vale. But this is the thing: we've got to win our games, though. I don't, you still got to win your games regardless. Because even if we won like the remaining games and we didn't go up, I don't think you can complain because at least you've done everything on your part to try and do that.
And if you I suppose if you didn't get automatics and you had to settle for playoffs, who would you want and who would you want to avoid? You said you wanted to avoid Sutton, but is there anyone in the playoffs at the minute you'd preferably want or not really?
To be honest with you, it's a difficult one because some people have said put Northampton, Bristol. I don't really mind, to be fair. I haven't really got a personal preference because at the end of the day, you'd have to play them anyway, even if you got through to the final. To be fair, but the best way is to go up is obviously automatic because you've done it. But to do it at Wembley, that would be amazing. But it's a long way back if you don't get anything. Though,
of course. Yeah, especially for somewhere like Mansfield.
Yeah, like I say, for Stevenage, it's not too far. You can just go down and you're basically back home. But for us, it's such a long journey to come back.
Especially if you're playing like Sutton at Wembley as well, and if they win it, they're obviously just down the road. So
yeah, they just like I say, they really impressed me. Every time when we played them on both legs, they just really organised. And once you go down against them, they're so hard to break down.
Yeah,
they're just an organised side. But personally speaking, if we went into the playoffs, I wouldn't mind playing Bristol Rovers because I think we could give them a game.
Mm-hmm.
But again, hopefully it doesn't come down to that and we can go up particularly. But knowing our luck, it will come to the playoffs.
I thought Bristol Rovers were a really good side. They come down here, they beat us 4-0. Obviously, I said about the game against Colchester, but then before that, having only won one away game all season, that was actually away at Bristol Rovers on the first away game of the season, ironically as well, which kind of shows, that we can get weird results in the Football League. As yesterday proved, to be fair, if you're looking at that, who would have put Barrow to beat Sutton and Stevenage to beat Northampton on an ACCA? Probably nobody.
I know, it's crazy, mate. It's insane. It's really insane. It really is. But this is League Two for you. It's such a crazy league. I mean, when you guys beat Tranmere, it was great result for us and the rest of the teams in the playoffs. But again, it just shows you a bit of momentum, a bit of confidence. Anyone can beat anyone in this league, as we know.
Exactly, and even going back to Barrow as well. Obviously, Forest Green won the title yesterday, but Barrow beat them 4-0 last week. So.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's insane. And I mean, it's nice when you can get beat 4-0, but you don't have to worry about getting anywhere. But it's insane, mate. But this is League Two for you, though. This is why it's such a great league, though, because it's up and down.
And I'm glad that we're still in it for next season. It's just fantastic, really. And obviously, it was just so fitting the way that it happened yesterday. Obviously, we lost a club legend in Martin Gittins on Thursday as well. Top goal scorer. Scored 217 goals over 4 spells. He scored 44 goals in the season as well. And he passed away on Thursday at the age of 61. There was just a lovely moment's applause for him before the game yesterday. And it was just so fitting that, yesterday was the day we stayed up, and also he was a number 9. It was our number 9 that grabbed both of the goals yesterday as well. So it was just perfect all round, to be fair.
Well, yeah, like I say, you're staying up, and that's the main thing you can build for next season, thanks for coming on, Mike. Really appreciate you taking your time, mate.
Oh, absolute pleasure, mate. Always enjoy this.
Well, yeah, like I say, Bar Tuesday, best of luck for the rest of next season. But it's going to be a good game on Tuesday. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, like I say, you're watching it on the iFollow as well. I'm going to be going down to the game, of course, but I think the whole of Mansfield will definitely be giving him a somewhat warm reception, if you like.
As I was saying to you, I would have maybe gone down to the game if we ever something on it, but with work and whatever, it's not really plausible at the moment. Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. You can just enjoy watching the rest of the game, so you don't have to worry about anything. So anything's a bonus for you guys at this point.
But no, and obviously Salford last game of the season should be good as well. Obviously I think we've got our player of the season awards after that apparently as well. And then the day after, I was just saying obviously about Martin Gittins a minute ago. We've got a charity game for him, which is like a fans team taking on an old Stevenage Legends team as well. So it's a nice way to end the season.
Who would you say your player of the season is just before we come off?
It's a difficult one. There's not many. There really isn't many. I'm going to go Luke Norris. I think Luke Norris, He had a massive part in yesterday, getting the 2 goals. I think he's overtaken Elliot Lister's top goal scorer now as well. So he's a big game player. This is exactly what you want. So yeah, and born here in Stevenage as well. So yeah, Luke Norris for me.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks again, Mike, for coming on, mate. Appreciate you taking your time, and like I say, best of luck for the rest of the season, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.